Hey,
Hey,
welcome back, everyone.
yes, welcome back. Welcome back.
We made it through another week and we are glad that you are with us. All right. So, we are Jason and Tina Marie, life and relationship coaches, mentors, and motivational speakers on self love, self development, and transformation, creators of Legendary Relationship and our truly life changing 6-week relationship course, Elevate Your Marriage.
We're also the host of Love and Beyond the I Do podcast. We have Principal Works gear and accessories. Last but not least, authors of 8 Simple Ways to Awaken the Love and Intimacy in Your Relationship. And soon to be released,
Soon to be released. That's
our
right.
book, The Chase.
Right?
We hope that you are tuned in and ready for tonight to elevate.
All right. So, are you guys ready? Because we're ready, and we'll be right back with tonight's topic right after this. Hey, remember you can find us here on Friday live, right? Ready to talk love, relationship, self development, and of course, our specialty, marriage.
You can also find our podcast wherever you get your podcast delivered. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Like I said, wherever you can get your podcast delivered, we are there. Our Friday Night Lives are on YouTube and on Facebook. And on YouTube, you can just search at Legendary Relationship, and all of our past Friday Night Lives will come up. Also, you can go to our website to download our free ebook, the one that we talked about, the 8 Simple Ways, on our
Website?
website, legendaryrelationship.com. Well, why I always get tongue tied with that.
I don't know.
And then also on there, you can book a discovery call because we have a 6-week, as Tina mentioned, 6-week life-changing course, but you do have to qualify for that, and that we only take discovery calls, so just to see if you're a good fit for us.
That's right. All right. So you can find all of our information, all of it, any place you want to find us, anything, anyhow, blogs, newsletters, whatever we have, our gear, whatever you want to get, you can always find us at, where can they find us at, Jay?
legendaryrelationship.com/info.
Or they can.
They can scan the QR code right on the screen there.
All right. So what are we talking about tonight? So we hope you guys are ready and have been following us over the past several Fridays. And if you haven't seen the past episodes, you might want to go back and do that. So again, we say welcome, and make sure that if you are not up to date with all of the past week's episodes that is leading up to our the Power Vision Board workshop, then you need to go back and do that, because that will be next Saturday, right? February the 25th.
Yep,
All right.
at 1 p.m.
Yes. So make sure you go and register. Make sure you are tuning in. Make sure that you're listening so that you are not left out in the dark, and that when everyone else around you is elevating and you are not in the dark saying, well, why is everybody moving up except for me? So you have the info, go and get it. So tonight we are discussing why you don't have it is because you don't believe. All right? So we and it can be anything.
Right.
Why you don't have the relationship you
Exactly.
want. Why you don't have the car you want. Why you don't have the job you want. Why you don't
get the promotion that you want.
That's right. So whatever your it is, the reason you don't have it is because you don't believe that you can have it, that you are worthy, that you are supposed to have it. All right? So, Jason, make sure you let everyone know, right? If they are out there, how can we?
Yep. So if you guys are out there, just give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please also share the video. And also, we want you to join in on the conversation too.
Yes.
This is a community of sharing. So we like to have a
Interact.
two-way conversation. you?
So not only do we want to bring you good information on relationships, love, and everything about elevating yourself, we also want to make sure that you are, we're answering your questions, you are interacting with us, that we're able to feel like we're right there together. That's the whole purpose of our lives. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you want to just say something or add your little 2 cents in,
Yep.
please feel free to write it in the comment section, and then we will share it on the screen so that everyone can either chime in or they can see how we're answering it. All right? All right. So
Hey,
then,
Dennis. Hey, happy Friday. I know it's just something about Friday, right? It just feels different.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. So let's start into tonight's topic. Let's see. All right. So we, over the previous weeks, have talked about, especially last week, we talked about the importance of mind and heart being in sync with one another, right? So we oftentimes want things and we think it in our minds or we see it, but it's not showing up in our lives. And so we explained last year, last week, we had the definition of manifest, we had the definition of the mind and the brain and how it works. And then
Right.
again, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But the importance of the mind and the heart being in sync is that we can want something that we see, but we are not manifesting it in our lives because we don't have the feeling of it. We don't know what it feels like because we haven't experienced it, or we don't believe we can have it because we've never had it, right? We feel like it's out of our reach. So it is very important that when we start on this journey of manifesting either the relationship we want, starting to bring it into fruition, when we're starting on the elevation of manifesting anything in our lives, we have to make sure that we first convince ourselves not only that we want it, but we deserve it and that we can have it, that it can be a part of our relationship.
It's kind of like, I'm going to give an example. Kind of like, you say you want to be a millionaire, right? We all, everybody
Yeah, we
always
always say
aspire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to have $1 million,
Well,
right?
those who don't have it.
Right. Those
So
that don't have it, right? Say, I want
those
to
who
have
haven't experienced it yet.
Right.
Right.
Right. So, but then you turn around and then you say, I can't afford that. I can't do this. I can't buy that. I can't have this. Well, guess what? When your mind and your heart is out of sync and unbalanced, guess what?
You're never gonna
What
get
are you
it.
going to get? You're going to get what your heart so desires. So if you say you want to be a millionaire, but in your heart you feel like you're never going to get it, you're never going to get it.
And so what we mean by that is oftentimes, like Jason said, oftentimes people, they'll say they want to be a millionaire, right? But what they're really focusing on is the focus of lack.
Right.
The focus that they don't have it. Not that they want it, but what they don't realize is that we're actually focusing on what we don't have, which is bringing more of what we don't want into our lives. So you say you want to be a millionaire, but you're not doing anything to create that millionaire mentality. So let's make it a little bit more close to home, right? We're talking about relationships here. We're talking about the relationship with yourself, the relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your family members, the relationship with your kids. So you want to have a harmonious relationship, right? You want to have that good relationship. Now, let's just say you've never seen it, right? You've never had a good example of it.
Right.
But you know you want it. You want to experience that love, joy feeling that you get when you get it. And you don't have it because the only thing that you are focusing on and the feeling of it is that you've never had it. So when you go to think about it, your mind thinks about what you want, but your heart is telling you what you've always had, what you've always seen, what it's always been. So the only thing you're really truly focusing on is not what you want,
It's what you don't want.
it's
and
what
that's
you
keeps
previously
showing
had,
up.
which is the lack of a harmonious relationship.
That's right.
So we have to understand the importance of the heart and the mind and how it works. So,
This kind of reminds me of something. The heart and the mind kind of reminds me of being in the friend zone. Right?
what do you mean being in the friend zone? What's that mean?
Being in a friend zone is when we were first dating,
You and I.
you and I, and I was
Okay.
stuck in this zone where we were friends. We started out as friends, which is nothing wrong with that.
Right,
Right.
right.
You got to have a way in. All right. I had my way in. But then I started to catch feelings. Right. But I said I wanted to be with you. I'm sorry. I said I didn't want to be with you. But then I caught feelings and I wanted to be with you, but then I couldn't say it because I didn't really feel it.
I think from the very beginning you wanted
No,
me.
no, no, no,
Yes, you
no,
did.
no,
Yes, you
no,
did.
no,
You
no, no,
mentioned that. I
no,
can go
no.
back to
You
the
can't.
podcast. I think
No,
from
no,
the
no.
very
Maybe
beginning.
I knew right away. I knew early on. I knew early on
Well,
before I told you.
and what
But
that's leading to is
but
telling
I
me.
didn't
But
really believe it. I didn't
right,
believe that we
right,
could be together, right?
right.
Because
That's what I was gonna say.
we had already set our boundaries on our relationship, and we said that we're going to be friends for various different reasons. So I said fine, but then when I wanted to change it, I didn't believe that I could because I had already committed to what we said in the beginning, right? So I was kind of wish praying that we could be together, but in my heart of hearts, I didn't really feel that we could be together.
Okay.
And that's one of those examples where I say you wishing and hoping and praying, but you have no belief, right?
And then last week we talked about belief, right?
And we talked about belief. So, you have to go ahead and you have to pray, right? But you have to pray with a belief. And then when you do that, we have to believe, we have to pray like we truly believe, right?
So this picture shows how most of us pray, right? We pray and we want things in our lives to change, but we don't pray as if we want it. We pray as if we don't believe it's going to happen.
Right.
We're up against the wall. We want a certain relationship. We've encountered certain hurt. And so therefore we want that relationship. And so we turn to, this is not what I want.
Right.
And you're focused again on, this is not what I want. But our praying is not, or our mind is not necessarily set on the possibility of what we want, is really focused on the possibility of what we can have.
Right. So we pray like we don't have a right to have it.
That's true.
Right?
That's right.
So you praying like, oh Lord, can you get this for me, or this, that, and the other, but not like I have a right to it, right? I don't pray with the belief, so I don't get it. And then I think something's wrong. So we just have to kind of align our head with our heart,
Right.
And with that sync, and then more and more things come to pass. Hey, look, we ended up together. That's kind of like when I got my head and my heart together. You finally got your act together, and we kind of came together.
I was
Right?
going to ask you. So, if in the beginning, if your mind was telling you that you wanted more, but then your heart you felt like it was never going to happen.
Right.
What changed? What did you? How did you overcome what your heart was telling you? The feelings that was wrapped around there.
Because I really wanted this relationship.
A lot of people really want things. A lot of people really want to
Right.
be.
But I
millionaires.
didn't want to get caught on the sidelines, right? So I was already on the sidelines and I didn't like being there. Now,
Okay.
I could stay on the sidelines and just walk away from this relationship and somebody else come in.
And then your heart was always been hurting.
Always, right? Because I never gave myself a shot. So I know what I agreed to. Now I'm about to break this agreement, right? Which I feel bad about because this is something that we agreed about. But so I'm about to break this agreement. So now I'm saying I got to take a chance because I'm not happy, right? I can sit here and pretend like I'm happy. I want to be with her. So I went ahead and made that decision. And I said, hey, babe, you know what? I like you more than a friend. I have for a while, and I wanted to go, much further.
So do you think once you your mind, right? Your mind started to
Yeah.
want it, but then your heart started to say, well, maybe it is possible. So I'm going to
Well,
start.
my mind said that, but my heart was like, fool, she gonna crush you. Don't you tell her that, man. You about to put yourself out here and you're gonna get burnt, right? So I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to tell her that, right? So I don't, I'm kind of stuck in, I'm listening. There's no sync, right? My head's telling me one thing, my heart's going, man, don't you go out there like that. All right. You're gonna get messed up. And so,
So what did you do that was different? If you could
I
look back-
conquered. I'll say I conquered my fears. I overcame the lack of sync, and I put it in alignment together. And then once I put it in alignment, I was able to just say, "Hey, look, this is who I am. Right? Look, I like you. I think we'll make a good couple. I respect you. I just want to be with you, right? And I figured there was nothing wrong with that if I decided I was breaking that agreement. So I just kind of cast fear aside. That's one of the first things that helped me with being able to step out on my own and do various different things because I overcame that fear.
Okay, so just going back to what we're talking about, right? The mind, heart, sync.
Yeah.
Eventually, you wanted it so bad that you had to change your perspective.
I had to. Yeah, I had to. Yes. Right.
You stepped out. And I remember you telling me, I want to be more than friends.
Hey, what did you tell me? I just didn't know. Because that little man on my shoulder was like, I told you, man, what was going on?
I was like, I told you in the beginning, I just want to be friends.
She stuck to it.
I just want to be friends. But my point was that by you doing that, by you actually taking that first step is a lot of what we're talking about right here, because that is the momentum that started us in that way. And a lot of people think when we talk about heart and mind, being in sync, that it means like one day you just gonna boom, everything's gonna pop and it's gonna be together. No, there's a process, because we have been conditioned a certain way, right? I conditioned him
to stay in this friend zone that I agreed to, which I don't even understand how I got stuck in this thing.
Exactly. So, but him changing his right, we talk about changing your world, elevating, right? We're talking about going after what you want, and this is something that he wanted. And so when he took that first step in telling me that he wanted to be more than friends, even though his feelings
they got hurt. Yep.
But that was the momentum he started. So we have to start somewhere. In this process of elevation, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to say, I want $1 million and it drops in your lap. Right. That would be awesome. If you can do that, let me know the trick. But our point is that you have to realize that if your mind and your heart don't believe it, if they're not in sync with each other, if they don't really conceive that it can be done, it's never going to happen. So you have to start the process somewhere. So, so that was his process. And actually, by doing that, he overcame that where it's never going to happen. Now I put it out there. Then he started doing things that showed me that he really
I had the confidence now. I mean, like, hey, if I've already put it out there, now I can just go ahead and be who I want to be. I can show you exactly who I am.
It's that build-up of momentum, but that momentum could have actually went the other way. I could have, I guess maybe I was a little.
You would have messed it on a good thing, baby. You lucked out. I'm just saying.
Do we have any comments?
Yeah, we do.
No, do we have any comments?
I know I know a lot of things I said, makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
Kelly, you're going to have to say which one, because Jason think it's all about him, right? And we're talking and we're not really sure. So Kelly, it may be about Jason, but if it is, just slide it and say, Jason, yeah, it makes sense. Tina makes sense.
Even if it wasn't.
Right, just say, yeah,
Jason. Fears and doubts. I know, fears and doubts will keep you back all the time.
What we have to understand, it's not really the fear that you can't have it. It's the fear that you've never had it, you've never experienced it. So we are fearful of the things we don't know. That's just the common path. We are afraid of what we've never experienced because we've never experienced it, right? Even like giving birth. We hear all these stories.
I'm just saying, it scares me. I don't have to do it. It scares me.
Okay, but the problem is that when we try to do this, we don't realize where the disconnect is. We don't understand that the reason why we have not manifested the things in our lives, whether it's a good relationship. So again, I'm going to go back to, we have to stop making the excuse of what I never had a good example, right? Or all of my previous relationships were all bad. So now I'm on that downfall of always I'm going to always get this bad relationship. The thing is that if you want something that you've never had, first you have to convince yourself that you deserve to have it. So somewhere in that process, Jason convinced himself that he deserved a wonderful, beautiful, intelligent woman like myself.
Yep.
And so therefore,
you were standing right in front of me. I mean, I don't know why. I was just acting on what was in front of me.
Exactly. Yep. So you both had boundaries that changed. Absolutely.
That's true.
And it took him 2 years to get out of that friend zone, because I had made the decision that I only wanted to be friends, and I was elevated in my life, and I didn't want anything to interfere with that. If I was not able to give,
I was interfering in your life.
No, I said I didn't want anything to interfere.
Was in your life at that time.
But I didn't become your girlfriend because I didn't want you to interfere with the goals that I was having for myself, right? So
Heard.
so so the thing is that I could not have been focused on what I needed to focus in my life at that time, which was going away to college,
Yeah, I got it.
if I had
Mhm.
you as a boyfriend. Right?
true.
You can't go and do what you need to do if you're kind of holding back. And that's kind of one of the things that adds to it too, right? We have to get out of that past, and we can't have things holding us back. And the things that hold us back, we have to kind of either put them in the friend zone or eliminate them in our lives. And so,
And that's what I wanted to respect. You had dreams.
right. Wait,
On-
wait. I know you said had, but I still do. But
Yeah, we're talking about this.
okay,
Right,
go
you
ahead.
still had it.
Mm-hmm.
But you had this dream and thing that you were going after, and I wanted to respect that, right? I
Right.
didn't want to cloud it all up, right?
Right.
I did want to support you in that whole process and all, but I did respect it, so I kept quiet as long as I possibly could.
And part of that was actually part of, I would say, your elevation and my elevation, and as Kelly said, us changing, right, was that we had to be honest with ourselves.
Right.
It got to a point that I knew that our relationship was moving out of the friend zone. And so when it started moving out of the friend zone, I already knew that he wanted to be more than friends. And I knew that he had the qualities that I wanted to project, the qualities that I was looking for in a man. So when we started to move out of the friend zone, it was something that I had to be honest with myself about, right? But which brings me to the point of we have to be honest with where we are in our mess.
Oh
right?
yeah,
We
do,
have to
don't
be
we?
honest. So if you keep experiencing the same thing, you go, wait a minute, is it me? Is it him? Wait, what's going on? Why do I keep going through this same thing and not creating the things that I want in my life? So the honesty is that I had to tell myself, you can't continue to hold this man on. Either you want to be with him or you don't.
That's right.
And it's the same thing after we got married, right? I had to be honest with some of the things that,
You still had doubt after we got married?
no, baby.
Oh, okay. All right. Thought we were good by that time.
We were good. We were excellent at that time. But the honesty that we talk about in our relationships when we're talking about elevating is that early on in our relationship, I think we had to be honest with the fact that we didn't know a lot of things that we thought we knew.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
We did not know what it took to be married. And so therefore
On the fly.
the single, jealous, immature Tina often showed up.
Yep.
Right? Right.
Same here. I mean, I did the same thing. I did a bunch of foolish things. Right.
Right. So those things that triggered me, or those things that I thought were important, right? The things that I thought was important, I soon found out weren't important. So arguments that we had over things that were really irrelevant, I had to be honest with my part in them. I had to say, okay, what am I doing that's constantly creating this same argument, that's constantly creating this same type of relationship in us over and over again, whereas we're both upset,
Yeah.
and neither one of us really honestly are talking. Right? So
Right.
you're
So
in your,
nothing's getting done.
no, right. So you're in the basement. I'm upstairs. We're both upset. And the problem is that if you have kids or who are around, they really get the bun of it, because then
Right.
something happens and your kids need you and you're upset with your mate. So you like, you do it, and they're like, no, you do it, and you're like, no, you don't do
What you
it.
say? Talk to your mom.
So, but the point in all of this is that wherever you are in your relationship, whether you have one or you don't have one, whether you're trying to create one and you're trying to create one different from the one you've had in the past, whether it's with the same person or with a different person, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with where you are and what's showing up. All right. I got a phone call, y'all. She don't know it's Friday and it's live right now. I'm going to have to tell her that because she's not married. I'm about to tell her she had to tune in. But anyway.
Well, while you about to take your phone call, I'm going to go ahead and put this up.
All right.
So Sandra says, so it's been how many years now? Sandra, it's been about 31 years. So, yeah, it's been 31 years. I don't know how many years collectively. We've been married for 31 years. I don't even count those other years when I was hanging on in the friend zone and stuff like that. But it's been 31 wonderful years. Hey, Vicky and
Well, it will
Earl,
be
how are you?
32 in June.
Yeah, 32 in June.
He
Right.
got me when I was 2.
Yep. Picked her right out of the.
I was a genius in going to college at 2.
Yep. I was walking past where the little babies were. So yeah, I want that one right there.
Right. I
Yep.
can see her potential.
Yeah.
So let's see, if we spent 2 years in the friend zone and 2 years dating, then we got married. So this year will be 32, and then 4 is 36.
Okay.
36 years. I've known this man. Okay, he only counts the legally, the legal years. So that's 31, 32 in June. June 1st, guys, in case you want to send us a gift or something. All right. So what is this comment? Dennis said, I can finally see a difference in myself. Yes, slowly, as the discussion says. I believe in this new journey, and I have committed to stepping back and listen and believe in changing the outcome, not repeating the same story. And I'm glad you said that, Dennis. Definitely said you said that, because when we talk about being honest, you can't elevate until you're honest with yourself about what you continue to do, right? Like the young lady in the picture before. It's so hard to be honest with ourselves, because sometimes we don't want to hear the negative things. We can't see. We can't see the things that we're doing wrong, because it's just a part of who we are. It is our habit, right? We are who we are. And if we don't do something or find a different way to look at or try to dissect what's going on in our life, then we will never really understand what it is we need to do to change it. So it starts with looking at yourself. Take a hard, good look at ourselves and say, what do I continue to do in my relationships that really don't really make the best outcome for me?
And that's what it's hard to do, right? It's hard to really look in the mirror and truly look at yourself and just say, and get real with yourself. Like, hey, I don't like where I'm going with this. I don't like who I am. I want to change. I want to do something different. I want to express who I truly am. It's hard to do that. I mean, a lot of times we just look in the mirror. How many times or how many years have you looked in the mirror every single morning and never really pay any attention to the person that's reflecting back at you? A lot of times we don't do that. We just look in the mirror, look right through ourselves, and move on with our day. We don't really stop to take a look. Hey, are you okay? What do you really want? Is your life going the way that you want it? Or you just going, just one day leads to the next?
Dennis, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. So I'm talking about Dennis, maybe the Dennis that's online or another Dennis.
Well, it could be a friend.
It could be a friend.
Could be a friend.
But the guy's name was Dennis. So Dennis, I hope you're okay with us using you. And you talked about not being able to show your emotions.
Yep.
Right? And so many men find themselves in relationships where the problem and the turmoil is because you want to express to your mate how you feel, right? Or you want to express the issues that are going on with you as well as in the relationship, and you don't know where to start, right?
And you kind of know where to start, kind of like me, right? I knew where to start, but I didn't want to put my heart out there. And after putting my heart out there, I didn't want to seem like I was weak. That's the thing. So I'm saying if I take this little bit and I go out on this edge and I get crushed, then I feel like I might come across as less of a man. But I always want to be strong. I mean, that's what I was taught, right? Men are supposed to be strong. You don't show emotion, all this other stuff. But that hurts when it comes to a relationship and you have a feeling person in the woman, in the female, and then here you are, just a brick wall. It doesn't really work well in a relationship setting. So...
And if I can add into that, I do know that in the beginning of our relationship or in the beginning of our marriage, once we had a few years up under our belt, I did find it hard or upsetting that oftentimes when I was very emotional about things, Jason didn't seem to care.
Well, I mean, that's one way of looking at it.
Right,
not caring. I mean, I care, but I mean, what can I do? If you upset and crying, I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I'll try to make it better. You know?
So as a man, I guess you didn't know how to respond because you never showed your emotions like that.
Right, exactly.
So women, sometimes us women, we get into our feelings and we get real emotional. And really all we really want is for the man to kind of just hold us and tell us, baby, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. Or, I'm sorry, or I was wrong. And if we've never practiced those words before, even with ourselves, it's very hard to practice that with someone else.
Right.
So oftentimes, I would feel like, Like you said, I was hitting a brick wall. I would feel like he really didn't care when the truth was he did care. And I know that he cared. So then I had this battle in my mind saying, Tina, you know that he cares. You know that he loves you. But then the other part saying, well, I'm upset that he's not showing me that he loves me. And it comes to a part where how do you express to your partner that you need them to show more emotions? You need them to be honest with you. You need them to be able to open up and be vulnerable about how they feel without feeling insecure. So, when Dennis talked about you were taught not to show emotions, not to cry, not to be weak, how did you in our relationship work through that? Whereas now I feel like, you're a totally different person.
I am.
When it comes to being able to express your
feelings. I think because of the fact that, one, I felt safe, right? I felt like it was okay. You didn't make fun of it, like, oh man up and do all this. You didn't say that kind of things, and that made me secure. And then that way, when it was time for me to actually show my emotions, I felt better. We got closer. It just looked like the bond got even tighter once I can console you and show you, hey, baby, it's going to be okay. We in this together. We can overcome this. Not a big deal, right? And vice versa. When I was going through something, you were right there to console me. So I'm like, well, I like it when you do it to me. So it would be only right if I did it when you were down. Why is it wrong for me to show you emotions when you need it? Some affection, right? And that's what I had to get over. I had to show you how much I loved you, how much I was dedicated to this relationship and what it took. So yeah, even now, some of the fellas, they'll be like, oh, Jason, this, that, and the other.
What is this, that, and the other? I don't know. Some of the fellas say what? What do they say?
It doesn't matter. That's men talk, right? So whatever they say.
Oh, you being weak.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that. But that's fine. It's like, well, dude, I really don't care what you're saying because I love my wife and I love my relationship and my family and what we've built, right? I've worked hard at this. We've worked hard at this.
And again, that goes back to society, right?
Yeah.
So Dennis, I know, again, back on Dennis. Dennis has been making a lot of comments, y'all. So Dennis, when he said that people have said they see the change in you, and I said, be careful with that because we don't want people's approval. Right? Because their approval means that they're approving me from what they think I should be doing.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's none of their business.
I'm approving me. I'm approving this relationship. I'm approving the type of husband that I want. He's approving the type of wife that he wants. And so oftentimes people think that they have the right to interject themselves into who you are and who you are supposed to be, and I don't know if my friend is watching. I also had this conversation, with your friend, and I had to let her know. I'm like, I am secure in who I am. I never apologize for who I am because I am. And if it's something in me that I feel that I need to change, I will. But I'm not looking for the approval of others. I will be walking around crazy trying to be something different from every single body else. If you don't like what you see in me, then I was told that means you see it in yourself and you really don't have the audacity to either change it or be it. Right? People talk about my aggressiveness. That's probably because they wish they were more aggressive or could speak up more.
Possibly.
I
don't have a problem with it.
I know you don't, baby.
Because when I got battles, I say, baby, go get it. Take care of this issue.
He puts me on it. So what we have to understand is that in this elevation journey, in our relationship, be careful where you take your approval from, right? It's okay for people to say, well, you guys have a good marriage, or you guys should do this way. You guys, and so when you're creating that relationship that you want, whether by yourself or with someone else, whether you are married or if you're in a relationship, or whether you are right now trying to create the relationship you want, make sure you make it the way that feels good to you. Don't go into what society says it should be and it shouldn't be. What you should do and you shouldn't do. What the man's role is and what the woman's role is. There are no roles. There are no guidelines. You start with a blank canvas and you build it and make it the way you want that makes sense to you. only you. You don't need the approval of anybody else. Now, you can go and get tools and techniques from us to help you get that good relationship, because we're going to let you know where to get it from. But when it comes to you building your relationship, build it upon the bricks that make you happy. If you want an outgoing woman, go get an outgoing woman like Tina.
right.
If you want a loving, wonderful husband like Jason, who is going, that is going to be there through thick and thin, because the qualities that you want in a man, you see in him, then go out and get you a man like that. But whatever man or woman you want, my point is that if you and if you're in a relationship, and your relationship right now, it's not where you want it to be, right? You don't, it's not demonstrating what it was in the beginning.
Right.
You have to understand that it starts with you to recreate that, because somewhere along the lines, you push the cruise control button.
Right.
And so life started, either you started living your life separate from their life, and life got in the way, and now you find up and you wake up, you're two separate people with nothing in common, right?
Right. But you got to just, at this point, you just got to make sure that your heart and your mind is in alignment, right? So if you feel a certain way, just make sure that your mate understands that, and that's what's being taken care of in your relationship, not just you thinking one thing and they're living one way. If your heart says that I need this and I want this, and that's what you truly want, and it aligns with what's going on in your head, then that's what you should be working on, right? You have to work on making those two things come together. And then you have a conversation. Hey, look, I've been saying this for years, but I don't like it when you leave the toilet seat up, or a plate in the bathroom on your way to the kitchen. We dealt with that for many years. But after a while, you just, you get to a point where like, hey, this really, I'm tired of pretending like it doesn't really bother me, and I really need to say something, right?
Being able to have those conversations where, like, as we stress, being honest with yourself. What part of am I playing? Am I overreacting? Am I, could I say this in a better manner? Can I display better behavior? Can I be a better spouse so that I can get a better response? And everything ultimately begins with us. I can't expect my mate to change if I haven't changed. If I'm still doing the same thing, acting out the same way, I can't expect for him to do anything but react the same way, because that is the habit that we've gotten our relationship in. So we have to understand that in order to create a new relationship, one, we have to unravel everything that we've done. And that brings us to the point of you have to become a new you.
Yep.
And we talked about that last week.
Yep. But I want to break this.
Coming up.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo. Oh, wonderful.
So am I.
So that says a lot.
Yep.
You go and try. My God. Jason is a Leo. Jason is a Leo, and I think Leo men are the sweetest men on the. They're just really, really. They're a different kind of man, but they are also very
stubborn.
No. And very stuck to what they believe. Like, I had to tell Jason, and oftentimes I have to remind him. So I may ask something. Right. And when it's something he doesn't want to do, the first thing out of his mouth is,
not going to. Well, I figure we cut to the chase, right? If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to.
That may sound a little harsh, but his words to me, well, I'm not going to go around the corner just to do such and such. Right. And so my response to him was, it would be better if you didn't start off with what you're not going to do, right? Instead of saying, well, give me an explanation. Like, don't just say what you're not going to do, because that just sounds so harsh.
And it does sound pretty harsh.
And he used to be very much like that with our children, right? I'm not going to do that because
I'm not doing this, and you're not doing this.
And so, as loving and sweet as he is, he can be a very straightforward, stern, very prideful type of person, which that was something that we had to work out and understand in our relationship. And part of our course is the elevation that it took each one of us on our own separate journeys, including together. So when we worked on emotions, I had to work on my emotion on not blowing up, because I'm a Taurus and an Aries, and it only takes me a second to be like, so it took me, it still takes me.
You're getting better.
That's right. And so I had to work on maybe being less emotional, right? And then when Jason and I were working on the part of our relationship to deal with emotions, he had to understand it was okay for him to share his true emotions with me. And as men, you don't know how to do that because, he says, well, I don't want you to worry. Well, I don't want these things to bother you
Right.
like they bother me. Or I don't think it's
Exactly.
important.
I don't think that's good, but you feel like you protect your family, your wife, because certain issues, like, look, I'm gonna try to, shoulder this and deal with this by myself.
Right.
That's not best because then you're dealing with a whole bunch of stress, right? And you have no way to release it because you can't talk to the one person that's in it with you.
And you don't know how to deal with it because
Right.
you never have. You've never tackled that demon or that aspect of yourself of stress, right? We just learn to suppress it, push it down. We don't learn how to deal with it. And when we learn the right way to deal with stress or the right way to deal with emotions or being able to show them and express them where we don't feel weak, whereas we understand that it's a part of a relationship that's really crucial, a crucial part, then we can understand how to not only elevate in our own relationship with ourselves, because first I have to have that understanding and that love for myself before I can have that understanding and love with Jason. And so when we talk about being honest, we have to stop battling with ourselves. We have to stop thinking that the way we've learned stuff or didn't learn it, really it was just kind of like picked up and became a habit, that it's the right way to do stuff. Right? We oftentimes want to change and we say we're going to change, but then we find ourselves saying, hey, do you really want to change? Is it worth it? You see how you feel, you see how you hurt, you see
And this is a conversation you have with yourself.
Yep, that's you talking to you.
You're just talking to yourself.
That's the old you talking to the new you about why do you want to change? Well, you never changed before.
Fine now. Why are you changing? Go back to being this way. What are you doing? You know you're going to get hurt. So whenever you go to make a change, it's always a battle with yourself
because
you
change
have to.
Is hard.
Right, it is hard, and you know yourself so well.
Yes.
Right, and it knows like, okay, you said this in the past.
Right.
You're really not going to change. So what are we doing here?
Even so. Earlier this week, Jason and I, because we're on this elevation journey too. No one is perfect.
Let me say this before you. I want to get out some of these.
Go ahead, right, no problem.
Gail said, hello.
Hey,
Gail.
Happy Friday.
Yep.
All right.
I just had to get out of here. I understand, Jason. I just want to thank you so much, Dennis. I just want to say,
I just want to let you know, Dennis, that you said that I like to talk. Jason likes to talk too. He's a very big talker, and I think you are too, Dennis. You Leo men like to talk.
Yellow lights in Vegas. She's always somewhere.
Happy birthday. It was her birthday. We had her birthday last week. Have a happy birthday. I know it's Gloria Gunn's birthday. She's celebrating. I don't know if they're together, but you guys enjoy your birthday. Happy birthday for all the beautiful love February babies. All right.
Aries here. Okay.
All right, Kelly. All right. So I'm just going to tell you, Aries, Taurus, and Leos are very good matches. They're very good matches. Yes. Yeah. And I asked Jason. Jason's mom and I had a lot in common. We were both beautiful, fair-skinned, both loved you, and we were both hot-tempered. Okay. And so, but I've always gotten, even through what do they call that? The signs, astrology. That these are very good mates. And it's because I think that we always talk about being able to recognize the strength in your mate and play to it, and recognize the strength in yourself and play to it, and then help each other in those areas where you may be weak. But the key is that we have to find ourselves being patient with the areas and where we are weak. So I had to turn from him being weak in certain areas to my goal as a wife is to help him become stronger in the areas and where he's weak.
And vice versa.
Absolutely. So as a husband, instead of him seeing lack in certain areas, he had to say, okay, this is an area where she currently struggles with. So it's up to me to help her to become stronger in that area. And that's the true goal in relationships. Not trying to change people for what we want them to be, but understanding and accepting who they are, and then working through those differences, and then helping that person to change if they want to change, to become that better version of themselves. Not telling them what to change to, not telling them they need to change, but accepting them. And so I ran into a young lady, which brings another conversation.
Mhm.
I ran to a young lady in the locker room, and she asked me, how long have I been married? And I don't know why she asked that, because we were talking about food, and she said, "Well, what are you cooking for the Super Bowl?" And I said, "I don't cook." And then she said, "Well, how do you make this? How do you make your spaghetti? How do you make?" And I said, "I don't cook. My husband does all the cooking, the grilling, and the baking, and I'm okay with that." I'm
So am I. So
so
I'm pretty good with that as well. So
and so she asked me how long had I been married, and I said 31 years. And I think she was surprised, because I told Jason, I don't think she was surprised with the years. I
right.
think she was surprised with the fact that we had been married 31 years and I was still happy. I was still talking about my husband and my relationship in a way that it was okay. Because and she said, "What is the key?" And I said, "Or what is the secret?" And I said, "There's really no secret. The key to having a good relationship is accepting the person for who they are. If I accepted Jason, right, and you can speak for me,
Hmm.
if I had accepted him when I first met him and he smoked, and
Right.
I know that smoking is not something that I like, but if I liked all the other qualities except the smoking, so I think that if we start dating, that I can convince him to stop smoking, then that's just that's one of those things where we're wanting people to change because we don't want something. If
Exactly.
I didn't want a smoker, then I would just tell that person, "You're not like who I'm looking for. You have good qualities, but you're not who I'm looking for." Instead of me taking the time and energy and then leading him on to date someone and knowing that I don't like smoking, and then that creates an issue later in our relationship.
Yep.
Who the person is when you met them is who they are. If they smoke, if they drink, if they dance, if they party, whatever they do, if they're quiet, if they're homebodies, if they are religious, if they go to church every day of the week, that's who they are. And if you cannot accept that about them, then you need to move on to someone else, because there is someone out there for you exactly like you want them to be, if you make the manifestation, right? So we're talking about manifesting that relationship. And if you're married right now and
Mhm.
realize that you guys are on different grounds, right? So this is all a part of, where do I start to get that relationship? How do I get my relationship back? Where's ground zero, right? So again, go back these previous Fridays and start listening to those episodes, because we talk about the change begins with us. We have to start with us doing the things that we need to do to create the relationship we want. But first, we have to know what type of relationship we want, and we have to know
Mhm.
the things that we need to change about ourselves, because we have to change in order for the relationship to change.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh my, oh Lord, my partner is in there. Hey, that makes for a beautiful relationship. I'm gonna tell you that, Dennis.
Yes, yes. The journey of elevation is a personal and different journey from the journey with your partner. Yes,
Yes. So
absolutely.
you're on two separate journeys
Yes,
here.
yes.
So
You can't.
especially if you're in a relationship, you have your journey and
Hmm.
then you have the journey of the relationship.
Right.
So I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to talk more about that
Yes,
near
yes.
the
And we
end.
talked about
Um,
before how
so
don't intertwine the two.
mhm.
Don't think that in order to get better, that your mate has to make you better, or in order to make your relationship better, it's the two of you. It's you, him, or you and her, or her and her, however, it's you and that person, and then you all together. The title tonight is actually on point. I had a few very important issues going on. The
Mhm.
words believe and manifest is the belief. Claim it.
Yep.
Well, today, thank you, Jesus. Today was a great day. And Dennis, I'm going to tell you, it can always be a great day if you look at it as a great day.
Yep.
And you may say, Tina, that, and this is all really, that ties into exactly what we're saying, Dennis, because oftentimes we don't realize that we are truly creating our relationship by what we think and what we feel and what we say. And we are creating our day in what we think and what we feel and what we say. So when you started off knowing that you're getting up and you're being the best Dennis you can be, and you're not falling into that old habit of who you used to be, start creating new neurological networks in your brain. Don't keep doing the same thing expecting a different outcome. Let's start doing something different and expecting a better outcome, and that's what we will get both in our relationship and in our life.
Just
But
like we talked about those thoughts that you have, right? You have
Right.
those 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and you're carrying over about 90% of those thoughts. So be careful of what, you dealing with the stuff that you thought about yesterday, and you'll probably think about it tomorrow. So if you want to make some change, you got to change the way you think.
We really
That's the
have to
only
get-
way you're going to change your whole entire life and your whole entire outcome.
think about everything, what you think about everything. And so when my point was before, when we were talking about changing and becoming changing, right, and becoming a new person, and we're constantly having to do this. When Jason and I are together and I may say something about someone or something, or just make a comment, and his response is the old Jason. And so I had to look at him and say,
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
is that the old Jason or the new Jason?
And-
Right?
But here's the thing. It stopped me in my tracks. And I said,
Because we don't see it.
wow, I didn't even pay any attention. I thought I was, doing so well. I thought I was doing well. I thought I was really elevating. I thought I had let, little Jason go, but he was still holding on. So,
And go ahead.
excuse me. So when she said that, I had to stop and pause and said, I haven't changed on my responses, right? There's still some things that's lingering that I still need to work on. So then that's when I started, when she started saying that, at first I was kind of getting upset. Then I said, no, you need to pay closer attention to what she's saying. So then I started saying, okay, I need to change if I want to change. And I do want to change my responses and how I interact with her. So then I started paying attention. But you know what? Latina keep popping up too. So I ain't the only one showing up in this thing. Oh, okay. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. So with that, there's oftentimes when maybe I'm worried about something, or I don't like the way something turned out. And Jason reminds me, he says something that reminds me that we need to elevate, right? Like you're not that person anymore. Like you don't think that way anymore. But it's so easy to fall back into what is comfortable to us, right? Not even realizing that we're doing it. And oftentimes when he says that, I don't always want to accept it. Sometimes I'll be in my mind, I'm like, did nobody ask you? Like really? Like, let me enjoy this moment to be upset or whatever, right? But then what about when we're by ourselves? When we're all by ourselves and all those negative talk and negative thinking and negative feelings all come up, how can you be honest with yourself about what you're doing, right? How can you hold yourself accountable? Because like Jason said, at that point in time, he couldn't see what he was doing.
No.
And at my point in time, I couldn't see what I was doing. But it took my mate to bring that to my attention. But if you are striving to have a better relationship, and right now you're trying to create it, and most of the time you're by yourself, who's going to hold you accountable for when you fall back into that it's not me, it's them? Or they're never going to change, or
Right.
things are never going to change because you changed one thing about yourself and you think that everything is going to have a ripple effect. And you go in to talk to your mate and they show up the same way. And now you're back upset, back into the old you and your old beliefs and what feels comfortable to you. But nobody's telling you, hey, you promised yourself to elevate. You promised that button was no longer going to be pushed. So who's going to hold you accountable? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I couldn't get upset about that. But I got some more.
Comments. So guys, if you are out there, Jason, make sure you go over
I will.
okay. It takes 21 days to change a bad habit or a habit that isn't self-serving. No, Kelly, people say that, but I think it takes more than 21 days because I didn't had 21 days and I'm telling
Well,
you.
see, here's the thing. Just because 21 days has passed, you have to actively work on repairing that or changing that.
People say it takes 21 habits to change, 21 days to change it, but
It could.
It
but you
has
have
to
to
be
actively work on
every
that.
day.
though.
That actively work to change that what it is every single day. So now some of these feelings, because I like to think of myself as a positive person.
Okay.
Yeah,
you are.
I try to see the best in everything, right? No matter what it is.
Right.
And oftentimes when I get into my feelings about people who I feel like maybe I was wronged in my own mind, right? Not to say it was true. Then I think something that to me is not a positive thought And so something I don't want to think about someone else. And so if I've changed and I've spent the last 21 years not thinking thoughts like that, how do they pop back up? Because there's still a habit and it still feels comfortable to me. So and now I've gotten to the point where 21 years, I can now recognize it. But the 22nd day, it's still comfortable to me. So people say that, and that may be true. But if that was true, there's people who go through rehab 21 days. And I'm not knocking it, Kelly. I totally agree. But I think they need to add some more stuff to that. I really do, because they need, because people go through rehab 21 days or 30 days or 3 months, and then it only takes one little thing to trigger them and they back. So we have to realize that this is a constant process. So we can take that with a grain of salt and say, I realize that I've spent 50 years with myself. And I'm going to have to spend another 50 to make sure that I don't fall back into the comforts of being who I used to be, to create that same old relationship that I had before. So if we want a new relationship, you have to be a new person, and you have to be accountable, consciously accountable for what you do in the relationship. Not what your mate does, but what you do, how you react, how you think, how you say, how you talk, how you don't talk, how your response, your body language, all those things. All right, so let's get into the wheel. What?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say, but I kind of forgot it. But I'm going to go ahead and grab these comments.
Read those comments, baby. And then we gotta. All right. So Dennis says, "Ella, I said this same statement 2 days ago, and little Dennis still pops up."
Yep. Just because you decided you're gonna change, that don't mean nothing.
Little Dennis,
right? You're gonna get some tests. Yeah.
And you know what the biggest kickbacks to me are, the biggest resistance are those things that used to bother you the most, that you say they're not going to bother me, is like, because we're focusing on the things that we think are not going to bother us. So we have to change our way of thinking. So when we talk about those 21 days, this is going to be our 20. We have to change the way, instead of saying those things are not going to bother me, we just have to think about the things that make us happy. Yep. We just have to think about the things that feels good to us, that brings us pleasure. So instead of focusing on what you're not gonna, like Jay said, don't say what you're not gonna do. Let's rewrite the script where we're not looking at the negative of the situation, but always looking at the positive of the situation, right? The little Tina is not going to show up because Tina is going to enjoy people giving her creative feedback.
That's right.
Right?
And you know what? That's what it was. It's always a lesson in it, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
I just learned to look at it a little differently.
Yes.
Right? Instead of looking at it like, oh, you're just tripping. No, actually I'm working on something, and that means that this is only going to make me better, because now I'm noticing this, and now I can stop and start to repair it.
Absolutely.
Now when I go to react, I go, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to react like him. No, this is who I am. This is the new me. I need to do this. Now I'm still working on that. I'm not going to. Now that is stuck. So I am working on getting rid of, I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. I'm not doing this.
That's his quick response. I mean, like,
we were at the gym the other day. She said, well, she charted out the whole workout. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I mean, like, come on. Like, we're in the gym. We're supposed to be working out. It's a time for giving and taking.
Says, my heel hurts. I'm not doing that.
Right.
What? Like, okay, Jason, we're going to do this. I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah. Like, this is a relaxing atmosphere. Little Jason shouldn't be popping up and trying to control the doggone thing, right? I should have him, like, under control, but not all the time. So
that's right.
That's what I'm saying. So it pops up, not in the heat of the moment or anything like that. We just having a conversation, very relaxed, very open, dialogue. And then boom, this pops out there. So you just have to be careful and stay in tune with what's going on and how you're reacting.
The deep things that we've been accustomed to, right? We've been accustomed to, arguing or being able to express our feelings in a certain way, which really do not serve us. So all of this stuff, as we talk about elevation and we talk about moving forward and making sure that you guys are ready for Saturday's vision boarding. So these are some things we want to talk about. So
okay, well, let me just get these past comments out here, and then we can move on to the next thing and get ready to get out of here.
Okay. Making the conscious
Hey,
effort
Vanya.
for change takes time and constant work. Yes,
Yes, it does.
constant.
Constant.
Nothing. You know what? People don't realize that. They think change is just a one-day thing. Baby,
I
change is
wish it
every single
was.
day. Every single day. Absolutely. It's a start to change, but yes, it's an ongoing process. Yep.
Man.
So it may take 21 days to break it, then take another 21 days to recreate it, then take another 21 days to practice it, then take another 21 days. Exactly. I too am a work in progress. 44 days. Day 44. I know that's right.
Understand.
Uh,
I do understand.
and the thing is that when you can actually see the things that used to bother you, or you're catching yourself, because it's so hard to be like, I'm not kidding, guys. It's so hard to be honest with ourselves because we do things unconsciously that has become a habit and we don't even realize we're doing them.
Right.
Jason's words, like he wouldn't even think about them until I say, what? Is that the little Jason?
like, yeah.
So it's so easy for us to fall back into that comfort of who we are when we're trying to recreate a new person, but we have to be vigilant and constant and be aware. We have to be. Last week I told you guys to pay attention to every thought you thought between last Friday and this Friday. You have to pay attention, and I want you to continue to do that. Pay attention to every single thought you think, even if it's without going to the bathroom. Think about every single thought you think and ask yourself, does this thought serve the higher me? Does it make me happy? Does it make me feel good? Or is this the lower vibration negative me that I no longer want to be? Because you can only attract what you are. And if you don't want to attract negative, then we don't need to be negative. If we want to be happy, we need to attract happy by being happy and thinking happy thoughts. I know that sounds, kind of, what is that word? Cliche, but it's true, guys. It really is true.
You
All right,
got some likes up there, baby.
baby.
You can't see that?
Nope.
All right, Vanya, Nancy. Are you going to go ahead and play?
No, go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
We got Vanya, Nancy,
Okay.
Kelly,
All right.
Norma, come,
Want to make a comment about Norma.
and Dennis.
All right, and Dennis, thank you guys for tuning in. And I wanted to say this. So when I talk about accepting people for who they are, and I hope Norma doesn't mind me sharing this. Her and her husband was sharing their story with us, and he said that he told her she's a whole parade, and he's okay that she's a whole parade because he knows when she shows up, he's gonna get his horn and he's gonna put on his sunglasses and he's gonna get his chair because he knows that she's a whole parade, and he's not trying to change it. He's not trying to say, Norma, you too much for me, because if she was, he wouldn't have gotten with her, right? So I just thought that was so funny. Jason, talk about that sometime. Norma, she a whole parade. And that's okay when you can see the qualities of your mate and be okay with who they truly are and not try to change them. All right. So let's get into this wheel. So guys, we talked about last week to make sure you pay attention to your thoughts. So, right? 365 is for us all to work off what was working toward our best person. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Working off what was. We don't want to be what was. We get a new 365. Thank God. And I thank God every single day when he allowed me to wake up and continue the progression of Tina, because not everyone is blessed with that opportunity. So, every day I wake up and say, thank you, God. You obviously know that I got a lot more work to do here on earth. So I thank you. So
now we can get into the
wheel.
the momentum. So this is something that we've been working on, and it's been working for us, and we just wanted to make sure to share it with you. And this also goes along with building for the vision board and the vision planning, right? So what we've called this is the momentum wheel. Right? It's how to get things going in the right direction. So you find yourself in the middle of this wheel. Let's kind of do this.
Yep. So this is the wheel.
This is the wheel. And you're in the center of this wheel. This is your goal. This is what you want to become. I want to become a person that reacts in the right manner, and some of the things that I need to do to make this happen. So here, the new version of me, I'm in the center, and these are all the things that make this happen. So what I had to do is I had to write down all of the things around the circle that would make this come true for me, to would bring this into manifestation. I had to remember I have the power, focus on what I want and not what I don't, all these different things. And this is just an example, but I have these in various different areas of my life, for both of us. And we put whatever the most important thing is in the center, and I write down everything that my mind can think of to make this come true in the center. And I'm going to tell you, each and every day, I use this focus, this momentum wheel to make this come true. It's something, like I said, it's a visual. So I just basically use a journal book, and I create me a circle. I put what I want to have happen and all the things that I need to manifest to make it happen. And I sit there and I when I write down all of these ideas and things, and I go, gosh, I never really thought about all this different stuff. Now I'm not lost, right? I have an excellent roadmap on how to make this happen, right? So I want to become a better person. Now I need to throw in the wheel. I need to watch my reaction. I need to watch when I say this. So I'm constantly growing with this wheel, right? And I was like, okay, now once I master all of these, I'm going to have what I'm supposed to have in the center. So that'll be whatever. If it's a me, if it's a better me, if it's a job, it's a better relationship, whatever.
Better communication.
A better communication. It's everything. So, but if you want a better relationship, you put all those things around what you think in your mind, what it would take,
yes,
that you would live up to make it happen. Then you would have the thing in the center, which would be a better relationship.
So I know when Jason and I first started doing our momentum wheel, and if we can go back in the conversation where Jason said the first step he took was to tell me, well, I want to be more than friends. That was the first momentum that he took, right? The momentum in getting him closer to where he wanted to be and eventually getting the girl. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing with this momentum wheel that we do. We have to start small. We have to start somewhere. We can't think that our life is just going to manifest what we want because we think it. The first thing is we have to start believing it, right? So you put in the center of your momentum wheel, and everything is to help it to gain momentum, to gain, so that when you do this, it relates to that, and you can do that, and you can do that, and now I can do this, and so you put down everything, anything and everything that you can think of. So, like Jason and I spent a very long time working on reaction, right? How we reacted to each other. You get upset in your first reaction. So in the center, it was like, being able to react differently. How reaction is a very good key. And so I had to start putting things, and I thought long and hard. I have to be able to do this, and I have to be able to do that, and I have to be able to do this, and I have to look at things differently. And so I put down, like, I just kept thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and digging deeper and deeper and deeper into all the things that I needed to do so that my reaction in the center was different. And so that's what we want you guys to do this week as we're moving close to next week and doing the power of visioning and doing our vision boards. All right. So I also talked about most people do a vision board and they're just kind of all over the place, right?
Yep.
We recommend that you pick one or two or three things to work on your vision board. The first and foremost is relationship, because that's what we do.
Yep.
We're here for about relationships, and all your other life is great too. But we want you to definitely start with your momentum wheel and put several different momentum wheels, one communication, one reaction, one response, one with arguing right, one with being patient, whatever it is you want in your relationship. Put that in the center of your momentum wheel, and then write everything around it that you need to do to make that come true. Only you, no one else, only you. And so we want you to make several different momentum wheels throughout the week. I want you to spend at least an hour each day focusing on your relationship, focusing on the areas in which you want to become a better you, focusing on the areas and how you want to create this better relationship, right? And go ahead.
So the reason why we're doing this is so when you come to make your vision board, then you have a clear understanding of what you're trying to accomplish. We're not just sticking things up on the board and, like, and trying to make
Anything.
things,
Something quick.
happen. No, we are actually working it. Okay, so
Intentional.
if I'm saying that I want to become a better person, these are the things that I need to have happen. So when I put that on my vision board, then I know how to make it happen because I have all of the spokes all filled out on how to make that happen. Now I'm just seeing this daily on the wall. So, and then you don't need a bunch of things. If you want to make more money, sure, you can do that. And you can also put a will together for that as well. So this has been a game changer for us, right? This is something that we've put in play. We've been doing it, and it's been taking our lives to like the next level as far as elevating and things of that nature. So it's real exciting. It makes you really think about and give some real thought to what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish, not wishing. And it makes you, like I said, focus. So when you have to focus down on the things to make you better and you writing them down, you'd be amazed at how much you come up with when you're doing it.
And it helps you to align yourself, to get your mind and your heart in alignment with understanding that it's not without your, that it's not too far. It's not too far-fetched, that you can have it. Mm-hmm. You can have that relationship that you dream of that makes you feel happy every single day if you understand what it takes to get it, right? And so the momentum wheel is not what you're putting on the vision board, but it's to help you to get that clear picture, because the vision board is what we're visioning. Now the things that we want, and we have the momentum to get it, those little circles, that's what we're going to put on our vision board, because now we want to start envisioning that relationship. So the momentum wheel helps you to gain the momentum, to get the relationship. And now you're going to take what you need to do and start seeing yourself doing it through your vision board. So we have to understand how it works. Now, what we want you to do also during the week is, if you're going to sign up for the Power of Visioning, make sure that you cut out some pictures. I would recommend, if you are married, find some pictures of you and your mate when you guys were very happy, right? I don't care if it was 500 years ago. Find those pictures that demonstrate and show in that picture you can see and feel the love. I want you to find pictures. If you're not married and not in a relationship, but you're looking for that perfect relationship, and it doesn't matter how old you are, guys, you got to stop thinking that age has nothing to do with it. If you're older and you want somebody to be a companion, that means there's equivalent to that. You wouldn't want something that isn't possible.
That's right.
That means there's someone out there that's thinking there's someone out there thinking the same thing that you're thinking. They're 950 and they're thinking, I would like to have a mate, but I'm too old. So stop thinking that, because they're waiting for you to think it so they can get that vibration. But anyway, cut out some pictures, find some pictures. If you're starting to establish or create a relationship, then take some pictures of you when you were at your happiest point, okay? And so we're going to put all these things to the side. Cut out words, cut out feelings, cut out emotions. Start looking through magazines, start printing stuff, or just get you some markers, or you can just be a plain black and white person, right, who just likes pen and paper. And we recommend you get a vision poster board. Mm-hmm. So we recommend you get 1 or 2 or 3 at the most poster boards, right? And so you can either have, if your relationship is 1, so we're just going to be focused on relationship, you get 1 poster board if that's all you're going to work on right now, because I think when you're trying to do too much, you end up failing. So we have to focus on one thing at a time. It's just like, when they say you can't ride a bike and chew gum, right? You can't cook. I always tell my kids, you can't cook out of the kitchen. You can't cook and be watching television or on your computer or on a conference call. Like, you can either do one. So you have to put your focus and your attention on what you want it to be. So we're definitely doing relationships. So start either getting some, I know me, I like markers and colors and pictures and stickers. And so, but I find the ones that represent what I'm trying to do. I don't want a lot of fluff. I want to know that they are specific and targeted to what I'm trying to accomplish. So we want you to start creating and getting all of your things together for next Saturday's Power of Visioning. And we will see you guys Friday to continue to lay all of this stuff out, because we understand that love is about self-love, right? We have to love ourselves first before we can love someone else. And when we're going into a relationship, whether in it or creating it or wanting it, we have to understand that we have to set the foundation first.
Right.
So that we don't go through the same mistakes we've had before.
True.
because we are all created to have companionship, and companionship is a wonderful thing. So we want someone to tell us that we look beautiful. We want someone to love on us. We want someone to encourage us that's there all the time that we can share our lives with. So guys, understand that unconditional love and self-love are all in one, but it has to begin with us. All right? So this is the month of love. Make sure that we are expressing love in everything we do.
Hey, Lanice just popped in. She said, hey, family.
Hey, Lanice.
Hey, Lanice, how are you?
All right. Good to see you. I know we on late. Oh my
goodness. Yep.
All right, guys. It is.
Well, before that, don't forget, go to legendaryrelationship.com/vision so you can sign up. It's a free workshop. So just sign up.
Go back real quick. I'm sorry, guys.
Yep. So let me just say this before that. So yeah, just sign up for that. We'll see you Friday, and then we'll turn around and see you on Saturday. But pay attention to the focus wheel. The momentum wheel, because the momentum wheel will also get you going to where you can actually know what to put on your board.
Guys, tomorrow, if you happen to be on Facebook, I am going to share it. I will be, tomorrow, Gold Rush Women's Conference will be going live at 10 o'clock from 10 to 12:30, I think it is. And they're talking about, they're having all of the speakers, I think, or some of the speakers that will be, or the, what does it say? Yeah, speakers. Some of the speakers that will be at the conference in April. So please, guys, tune in. If you have never attended this conference, it is an amazing conference. It will change your life.
And your relationship.
Yes, absolutely. So I will be speaking from 11 o'clock or something like that. But tune in at 10 o'clock, see all the speakers, get a feel for what's going on, and make sure that you register for the Gold Rush Women's Conference 2023, which will be taking place April 20th through the 22nd. And April 20th is my actual birthday. So tell me, won't God do it? Won't he do it? Yes, he will. So if you've never heard about it, you can go to goldrushwomansconference.com and find out and look it up. Look at some information about it. Get a feel for it. Listen to some testimonies and make the decision to change your life and elevate. And I'm going to call out every woman on this call. I wish I knew. So I know Kelly's on it. Kelly, I want you to go and check it out, because I truly believe this is an elevation tool. This is a game changer in the lives of women. Nancy, Lavanya, Sandra, Lanice, whoever is on this call and is a female, Norma, definitely check it out. Grab some girlfriends. You guys go look at it. And if you guys are ready to elevate to the next level, I'm telling you, this is where you need to be. Not just because I'm a part of it, but because let's go back. And I'm going to let you guys go. I was blessed. I truly was, because I attended this conference the first time in 2019. And it absolutely amazingly changed my life, right? And then I came back the following year with my sisters and a friend. And then the year after that, which was COVID.
I think you did 2018.
No, I did 2019.
Oh, you did 20. I thought it was 18, then 19. Then and then COVID was 20.
So 2018, then 19. Okay, and then 2020 was COVID.
Yeah.
And so they made it virtual, whatever it was. Yeah. So the years I've been going back, and then I brought I think like 5 or 6 young women, but it was virtual. So what I did is, to make it better, I rented a hotel room for all of us. And guys, I can't explain, daughters, nieces, cousins, because women nowadays, for some reason, we don't know our worth. And so we have to not only elevate ourselves, but teach the young people that you are so much more worth than what you see, around you, right? You have to stand for who you are and have, morals and standards, and know that it's okay, You can have the high position and the husband. You don't have to choose. So guys, go and check this out tomorrow if you want more information on it. Baby, can you bring it back up for me? So Facebook Live, I will be sharing it. So if you are following me, you will get it. I will be sharing it through Legendary Relationship and through Tina. Or you can follow and go to Gold Rush Women's Conference. It has nothing to do with any particular church or anything, but it is all about finding the you that's in there. This conference is called Made by Divine Design. You are enough. Now tell me that doesn't say it. Right? We are made by divine design, and I am enough. I am enough to stand on Broadway. I am enough to be in the boardroom. I am enough to be a millionaire. I am enough to be Congress. I am enough to be president. Whatever it is your dreams take you to, you are enough just the way you are. So, guys, I see you tomorrow. Sorry that it's so long, but
well, I mean, you had to get it out.
Thank you
had
for
to get it
tuning
out.
in.
I do want to say this though; it made a huge difference in our relationship. Right? It's something when, and this is what happened when Tina came back from the conference. She was all excited and giddy, and all about her dreams. I had to go pick my dreams up and blow the dust off of them because my dreams was just sitting over in the corner too. And I was like, baby, I didn't get excited about this. I'm like, I don't know. So I had to go up and talk to Reverend Jackie. I said, listen, I don't know what you guys did at the conference, but all I know is I got a new wife at home. And thank you very much for whatever you guys did, because now she's excited, I'm excited, and we're excited.
And
so it is something to see.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I went to the conference expecting anything, or I went to the conference looking to find myself. When I went, I realized that there were some parts of me that were lying dormant, and I had a lot more to do with myself. So, guys, we just want this conference is all about helping women find their intrinsic value, dusting off yourself, knocking on that coal, and finding the gems that are inside, and realizing that to love yourself, every single part of you, just the way you are, so that you can elevate to what you really want, to change the things that may not be the best thing about you, and to create the things that you want to create. Guys, I can't give this conference enough accolades because it truly deserves it.
Yep.
All right, so I expect to see all you guys April 20th at the conference in Lisle so that we can celebrate my birthday together. Where I turned 34 or something like that.
Something like that, baby.
34, where I turned 34.
Yeah, I think you got stuck. Just keep skipping.
All right, guys, we love you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Yes.
Don't forget to like and share. Pass the word around. We greatly appreciate it. So we'll see you next Friday. Also, don't forget to listen to the podcast next week.
Yes.
And then we'll see you on next Saturday, for the vision board.
Yes. The power of visioning.
Yes.
So we're going to elevate right now, ladies, men, relationships, marriages. We are on the path of no such thing as a bad relationship, because we know that there are people who live healthy, happy, and prosperous relationships and marriages, and we are going to be those people. All right. And as always, guys, we love you. Thank you.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much for listening.
And we're in it to win it.